Cloud. And so I'll send out the recording to everyone after this presentation is over in a follow-up email. And then I'll also send out links to all the resources that we talk about today in the presentation. So let's see if we have our first presenter here today. Dick, are you on? Okay, so I think Derek is going to be on here a little bit later. So I'll go ahead and get started with my presentation. And let's see if I can share my screen. All right, so can y'all see that right there? Okay, so my name is Stephen Bishop, and I work with the NC State FarmLink program. And so the first resource we're going to be talking about today is NC FarmLink. And for those of y'all who aren't familiar with FarmLink programs, the first ones were created in the Midwest in the 1990s. And since then, lots of other states have created these programs. But here in North Carolina, ours was created with NC State Extension about 5 years ago. So we're a relatively new program. And I cover the western half of the state. And then my counterpart, Noah Rennells, he covers the eastern part of the state. And so the purpose of, all FarmLink programs, though, is to try to help folks with land access and then also with transfer and transition issues. So farm succession planning. So we tend to work with two very different demographics. We have a lot of younger farmers on the land access side, and then a lot of older farmers on the farm succession side of things. And one of the biggest tools that we use is our database. And so I've got a little video here I'm going to try to show you. It's just a 2-minute quick video that kind of gives you an idea of how our database works. So let's see if I can get this to work.
So when I started looking, there really weren't many sites out there. FarmLink was the one that had landowners and farmers on the same site where they find each other. I mean, honestly, I couldn't be happier working with NC FarmLink. I mean, they made this happen. I wouldn't have known even where to begin. I'm not from North Carolina. It's really hard to find land to farm I was able to allow us to line something up ahead of time while we were still living in Chicago. We knew we wanted to be in the Asheville area, so I pulled farms around here and we basically whittled it down to 4. And we lined it up so that we could go visit all 4 on one weekend that I had off from snowplowing. And we just came down, we met with all 4, and this was just the best spot for us. So originally we agreed on a 1-year lease. We would rent on the 1st of every month. It was a very fair lease, and there were numerous improvements that needed to be made to the property, and we were able to kind of deduct those from the overall rent. We built our business, I think it was year 8, and Mary called me up after they came out for dinner the night before. And she called me up the next day and said, we want to sell the land and we want y'all to buy it. And at that point, it was like, we didn't really have much money, but luckily we worked with the FSA, the Farm Service Agency, and we were able to get a 0 down payment loan to purchase the land. And Ralph and Mary were extremely fair with us. It just turned out to be a wonderful relationship. My advice to other landowners and land seekers would just be get on the site, put some time into your profile to actually show who you are and what you're trying to do. And if you're genuine and you're sincere and you're willing to work hard, people will see that. I think it's a really great for anybody that's trying to find land to farm.
Okay, and so what that video shows is one of our major tools that we use, our database. And so the best the database is if you just go and Google NC Farm, it'll be the first thing that pops up and you can click on it. Here's our full website address here that you could use. But like the video says, you want to try to put as much effort into your profile as you can. And so a good way to think about the website is almost like Craigslist. So farm seekers create profiles, and you put in there what you're looking for in a farm, what your type of experience you have, and your location that you're looking for. And so landowners can search those profiles and contact you if you're local to are. And then also landowners can create profiles too if they're searching for a young farmer. And so it's a really good opportunity. One thing that we do have for young farmers is the certified farm seeker designation. And so this is a designation that a good way to think about it is kind of like the blue check mark used to be on Twitter. So it kind of verifies that you have some farming experience. It's a way that it helps you stand out. And so to get the certified farm seeker designation, there's basically, you have to show 2 of 4 things. So you have to have either prior farm experience, you have to have proof that a farm training program has been completed. And so that could be something like a formal ag degree, or that could be something like, NC Farm School that you'll learn about here shortly. Another thing that you can upload is a farm business plan or a professional resume that shows your farm experience. So 2 of those 4 things will help you, will get you that certified farm seeker designation. And there are a few perks that come along with that. For one, your profile will be highlighted at the top of the list. It will stay at the top of the list for people to see. Another tool that we have is our newsletter, and it goes out to about 5,000 people a month. And so we try to do a certified farm seeker profile every month. And so it's a good way to get your name out there in front of landowners. So that's another thing that you can do. And then another thing, when you're approaching landowners, you can say that you're a certified farm seeker. And the thing about land access, it's incredibly competitive. And so you want to try to be as professional as possible when you're approaching landowners. And so having ways that you can show them that you're serious and that you have experience, this is one of those ways you can do that. So the type of opportunities that you'll see on the FarmLink site, really, there's a variety of opportunities. So you'll see your standard leases where you're paying somebody like $50 per acre per year to rent their, farmland. And then you'll see your standard buy opportunities where you'll need to go through a bank to get financing. But in the middle, I think what makes FarmLink relatively unique is we have a lot of kind of this gray area where there's more flexible opportunities. And so you might see lease to own or lease with option to buy, lease for right of first refusal, sweat equity agreements, and then, owner finance, business partnerships. So you can really see a variety of opportunities when you search the site. And then, so if you go to the main FarmLink webpage, if you go NC FarmLink and go to the main page, the easiest way to get started creating a profile, you have a pinned news item right there at the bottom that you click on that, and that will get you started creating a profile. Right next to it, you can sign up for our newsletter that has a lot of good information on training opportunities and resources. And then the final thing I want to talk about is our farm succession consultations. A lot of times we think about farm succession, we think about older farmers, but really the truth of the matter is you have the biggest opportunity to affect your succession later down the road if you start early planning. And so one of the most heartbreaking things we see is that older farmers get in a bind where their farm is basically their 401k. And so they're forced to kind of liquidate their farm for a variety of reasons. And if you're a young farmer and you've never, thought about retirement or saving, don't fall in that trap of waiting too late. So if you'd like to talk to someone, we'd be glad to talk to you. And you can just click on this link right here and sign up. And usually it's about a 1 hour. We can do it a phone call or Zoom. however you feel comfortable, and just talk about your situation. And I think that's about it. So here's my contact information. Again, my name is Stephen Bishop. I'm with FarmLink in the western part of the state. My colleague Noah is in the eastern part of the state. And if you live in the eastern part of the state, he'd be glad to help you with land access, farm succession issues. And if you have any questions about FarmLink, just feel free to put them in the chat and I'd be glad to answer them. But at this point, I think we're going to hand off to our next presenter. And let's see, did Derek ever
I'm here,
arrive?
but if you could skip me, that'd be fine. I'll come back to me in a little
Okay.
bit. Sorry,
Andrew, do
I
you
had a
want to?
meeting that ran over.
Oh, that's fine. Andrew, do you want to go next? FarmLaw and FarmLink are kind of work together on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Stephen. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Can I share my screen, please?
Let me stop sharing mine. Okay.
Let's see if this works. There we go. That work?
Yep.
All right, cool. Hey, everybody. My name's Andrew Brannon. You'll sometimes see my name is Robert Andrew Brannon. I gave my first name to the university when I joined, so I'm called that in a lot of places. I just wanted to make y'all aware of the program that I'm responsible for and the outlet for it, which is this website here, and I've styled it as FarmLaw for producers and landowners. If you ever are just looking for it, you can just Google FarmLaw and then NCSU.
Did we lose Andrew or?
I think he froze up.
Okay. Let's see. We can get him back. Okay, so we lost Andrew. So
I can pitch it now if I can go ahead if you want me to go ahead just until he gets
Okay.
back on.
Yeah, so we'll come back to Andrew and we'll go to farm school now.
Awesome. Yeah. When he gets back on, we'll just navigate that. So here we go. Let's make sure I can just share my screen here. All right. All right. So my name is Derek Washburn. I work in the same department with Andrew Brannon. We both work in the Department of Ag, Resource, and Economics at NC State. Andrew's also, there's a couple of us within our department who are focused on farm management. Andrew's main focus within that is farm law. And then my main focus in that is kind of the business planning aspect of running a farm. And so I've had the pleasure of doing this program specifically now for about 10 years. And one of the things I love is we share a very similar kind of heart and mission to a lot of programs that are in NC State. One of them you'll hear later is called Small Farm Boot Camp. That would be our sister program. They're focused on a lot of production principles, and they're also a very agent-led and an agent-started program, just like NC Farm School is. And then with NC FarmLink, our kind of core connection there is we want to protect land use. We want people to be able to engage with farming. So the way NC Farm School does that is we want to engage with new and beginning farmers or farmers in transition who need to develop a business plan. And the idea behind a business plan is just becoming more sustainable. So that's our main focus. I'm going to talk about a little bit of our history here. This is Amy Lynn Albertson. It was a grassroots program. NC Farm School started with agents. The idea was people are coming into the office and saying, I have land and I need to know what I can grow or I want to start farming. What do I do? Or I have a farm and I'm interested in developing something new. How do I do that process? And what people are really looking for is a short answer, like grow tomatoes or have chickens. But really, it's a very complicated question. It's nuanced, and always the answer is going to be based on the person who asked the question. And so this program is really designed and aimed towards, has that focus of helping people do that. It's a community program. I'm the coordinator for the program, but we are all across the state, and we've not been in all 100 counties. I think we've been in about 25 counties, and our reach is statewide, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But we want to create economically sustainable farms that will increase the quality of life of North Carolina's farmers, families, and communities. That's what we want to do. And the way that we do that is providing a think, plan, do framework. It's really a business planning program, and there's nothing complicated about what we do. But we're engaging directly with people one-on-one, getting something, helping them get something on paper to help them start thinking about what it is that they can do with their land. In that, we're looking to preserve farm profitability, preserve agricultural land, and that's our link with NC FarmLink. That's our connection with FarmLink. And then we want to be geographically accessible. We do offer things virtually and in person, but our goal is to be geographically accessible to folks throughout the state. And again, business planning course throughout the whole state. All right, how do we do that? We do that basically 4.5 months, and we do a session every other week. We pick a weeknight, let's say Tuesday. We'll meet every other Tuesday for 4 months for 8 sessions, and then we walk people through that business planning process. We work with 3 to 4 county clusters. So basically, extension agents are hosting and providing the programming. I'm providing the framework and the support. And the goal is to allow you to work with specialist agents and farmers in your specific part of the state and people who've been successful from your area. So those 8 business sessions from 6 to 9 in the evening cover topics like goal setting, enterprise selection, budgeting, startup cost, fundamentals of marketing, financial principles, risk management. Even Andrew Brannon has a role, who you just heard him. He'll come back and talk about what he does, but he even comes in and kind of talks about some of the legal issues surrounding new farm enterprises, starting a new farm. What does that actually look like? What are some of the legal things you're going to run into? So we cover all a variety of things, and we have a lot of help and assistance from our specialists throughout the state. We created tools that are specific to the program that have been developed kind of over the years, including case studies, marketing materials, financial statement tools, comprehensive. We have a whole curriculum that's developed just for those who are attending NC Farm School. And we also use this thing called Ag Plan, which, by the way, you don't need NC Farm School to do Ag Plan. It's put on by the University of Minnesota. And it's basically a business plan framework for an agricultural business. I encourage you to go look it up. There's a lot of resources they have, even within that plan, that you don't need my help for. You could probably sort your way through your own business plan with Ag Plan if you wanted to do that. We happen to use that tool because it allows us to do, you can share your business plan with people, have them come on and review it and make comments, which is the reason why we use Ag Plan. Is so that I can go in and make comments. Your extension agent can get involved and come in and review your plan and make comments, and helping you along the way with that one-on-one. The other thing we do, one of the things that everybody loves, a field day. So we do closed field days for people that are in NC Farm School for this 4.5 months. We do 1 field day a month, and this would be a common thing. What you're looking at here would be a common thing to see on one of our field days, which is, you can see the farmer with the red hat is standing. She's answering questions from students in the classroom. And these folks are taking notes. These folks with their cell phones there, they're taking notes. And so what we do, we're in the classroom. We're doing 28 hours of in-class training, 3 hours in the evening, 6 to 9 every other week. And then once a month, we're going to go out into the field from 9 a.m. to about 3 p.m. We go to 2 farms in the area. We try to pick farms that are relatively new. Some of the farms are still, some of the farms started small and have gotten bigger, and they like to have new farmers come and ask questions and show them kind of where they started and where they're at now, to be able to answer questions. So again, field day is really a big part of what we do. And the goal is that you can see kind of visually assess and see what you could do with your land, what it would look like, what infrastructure is there to give you a visual representation to help you understand what it is that you may not know yet. And so, we're asking questions like, what are the key crop production needs? How did you choose what it is that you're growing? What kind of equipment do you have, or do you think I'll need? What markets do you sell to, and how did you choose them? Those sorts of questions are going to come up. And then kind of what are some of the worst things that have happened since you've been farming? So these are questions that we ask on our field days to help connect some of those production things that we don't get into great detail on with the business planning that we're trying to put together for folks to help people choose. Like I said, we don't teach people how to plant tomatoes, but we help teach people and understand why they should choose tomatoes, say, over chickens. So helping people make a choice, narrow down, a list of 20 things that might be interested in doing, narrow down to 3 or 4 that really are going to work for them and fit their goals and their needs. So people who come through NC Farm School, when they're done, they have a written business plan, and we ask that for folks. You get folks who attend NC Farm School and complete the program. It means that they have attended 6 of the 8 sessions, and it means that they have a business plan on paper. And when you sign up for NC Farm School, you get, we do an orientation, and we show you, hey, this is what we expect you to complete, for you to get your certificate of completion. And so, 93% of those people who complete the program are going to have a written business plan. They're going to find new markets to sell in. And then about half those folks that are graduating are going to do something in the next 12 months. So if these are kind of the things that fit kind of who you are or what you're looking for, NC Farm School is likely right for you. And so I'm going to jump out of this real quick. Yeah, and then I'll show you our website. So this is our website. You can see they all kind of look very similar. It's funny, I did this same sort of short presentation for folks who are interested in NC Farm School this week. And as I already took people, I was like, hey, by the way, here's NC Farm School website, but also here's NC FarmLink and some of the other sites you're going to see today. I highly recommend those sites. And I highly recommend the resources that they have to offer. So I'm putting this forward, but even if those folks couldn't do it, I'd probably take you to those websites as well, just to show you, because they have really great resources. So make sure you pay attention later on as those come up. I would like to show you here, here's our programs, just to kind of give you an idea. So you're like, okay, well, you told me what NC Farm School is. How about when is everything going to happen, and how do I find out more information? The programs we're going to do in 2024 are going to be on this page. So you'll just go, if you go to you type in Google NC Farm School, and will be the first link that comes up. You can navigate to this page, which is 2024 NC Farm School. And then you'll find our location. So we're going to have we got a location that's happening in Asheboro. We've got another location happening in, let's see, this one's in Statesville. So this is our south central location. We have one happening in southeast North Carolina. This one's in Johnson County. That's near Smithfield. And then we got one happening close to Rocky Mount. It's actually at the East Carolina Agricultural Education Center. All these are going on at the same time from February all the way until May. And the specific details about each one of these locations, if you just click right here, it'll take you to those. You'll see all the dates for each location, when the classes are going to happen, what's provided. Here's the price. We've dropped our price this year. A lot of people are charging more for things, and some people are charging the same for things. We're actually charging less for things just to try to make it more accessible. We've had some generous donations to our program that allow me to provide backup kind of like supported funding for each one of these programs. So we're priced below break even. So what we're charging here is not the total cost of what it takes to run NC Farm School. Our field day dates are here. What county they're going to be in is there as well. And then you can actually see the whole team of agents and what counties that they're in, which is really cool. I like to highlight the agent teams because they're working really hard behind the scenes and up front in the classroom. And so we want to highlight them. And then if you have specific questions, I try to include some of those questions that I get, as well as include some contact right here at the bottom. Each location has a specific contact and agent that you can talk to and ask questions, or you can always just email me or our staff. You can find my contact information right here. The best way to get to me is just by emailing me. The other thing is, Hannah, are you going to talk about the farm portal? Are you doing that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. That's because that was going to be the thing I was going to show you. The portal, which will be highlighted later, is really like, don't wait. If you're interested in planning out, writing a business plan for your farm, there's a lot to do. It all cannot be done in 4 months. Though we do provide accountability for you every other week to complete it in 4 months. It is possible to do that. So we see NC Farm School as kind of the start of the process. But know that I would recommend the farm portal and the one that we're going to hear from Debbie Roos. Her website is also really great if you're looking for material. So she's going to talk later, but I can't recommend that enough. But here, there's some things. If you go to our small scale budgets page, we don't just have budgets here. We also have these business startup consideration publication series. So it would be like the startup considerations if you were thinking about any one of these particular things. It would be like, okay, what are my kind of first decisions, first things I need to think about, and then what are some budget, what are some costs I need to think about if I'm going to go into that. So I really recommend start looking at this, pair it with Debbie Reed's website, pair it with the farm planning portal, and go ahead and get started. And then by all means, go and sign up for NC Farm School. We'd love to have you join us for 2024. And if you're on this call and you want to do farm planning and you'd like to have somebody look into that, always feel free. You can just contact me, send me an email, let me know if you have any further questions. I'm happy to help. I can give you about an hour of my time. That normally hasn't got me into trouble yet, but if it takes more than an hour, I may not be able to help you because I can't be there for the whole process of you writing an entire business plan. But I can definitely promise an hour to answer your questions or to point you in the right direction or to help you get past like a hurdle that you might be facing in your farm planning process. So that's all I have. Thank you guys for letting me present. And again, please take note of the other resources you're going to see today. They're very helpful. And I use them as a part of our process and I can't recommend them enough. So
Thank you, Derek. We had 2 questions for you.
sure.
Mostly about location for folks participating.
Yeah.
So Brianna asked if she's a South Carolina resident, if she would still be able to participate if there's a location that she's comfortable to.
That's such a good question. So Clemson University has a great new farmers program. The best way to probably think about so I work with an organization called CFSA pretty closely. We partner on a lot of things that we do together. They're in North Carolina and in South Carolina. So if you're on this call and you're thinking, I'm in South Carolina, I need some resources, CFSA can point you to some of those resources and get you connected. But if you Google Clemson University New Farmer Program, they have a new farmer program that's going to come up in 2024. And the reason why I would recommend that one over NC Farm School is that I think they're going to help you get connected with the resources that are in South Carolina. And the 2 states are not exactly the same. There's resources that are available in South Carolina that we don't have for new farmers and the other way around as well. So that's a great question. Is there another one?
Thank you. Yes. The other one is from Crystal, and she asked if locations will rotate for farm school. So if it's in Asheboro in 2024, will it stay in Asheboro in 2025 or move to another location, etc.?
That's a good question. So I don't want to be in one location more than 2 years in a row. Often we're in a location for 1 year and then we rotate, we move. It really is based on the agent teams that come together. So it's kind of organic. Right now we're planning for 2025. So we're trying to put those agent teams together and decide what those locations are going to be. If you're here and you're thinking, well, it's a little bit far for me to drive, let's say, if I had to drive every other week for more than an hour to get to a location, I might consider taking it virtually. It is offered virtually. And one of the caveats with that is with NC Farm School being virtual and in person, I want more than half of the participation to be in person. And the reason that is if I'm going to be online and I'm going to be doing it virtual, while you're doing it virtual, I want you to feel like you're in the classroom. So we use a thing called a meeting owl. and you can actually see other people in the classroom. You can hear them asking questions. It's like, oh, sometimes when you're doing things virtually, like somebody's answering a question, you don't know what was said, or you can't hear what other people are saying in the classroom. So I don't want that to happen for folks. So don't be afraid to do the virtual option. And know that like if you are taking the virtual option, it will feel like you're in the classroom, and that is very intentional. And something but the other thing we do is we do in-class exercises, and you kind of like you team up with people who are online, and then you work through an exercise every classroom. So those are some things we try to do to be inclusive. So if you're here and it's like a far drive, think about doing a virtual option, and if you have any more questions or any other kind of hesitancies, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any of the questions you have.
Thank you, Derek. Derek said the farm school is a great opportunity, and it's very affordable compared to other training programs out there, I think. So for the next speaker, I think we're going to move to Hannah Dankbar, and she's going to be talking about the planning portal that NC State is just rolling out.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Hannah Dankbar. I'm the local food program manager for NC State Extension. And Stephen and the FarmLink team invited me to talk about one resource, but since I have the mic, I'm going to squeeze in a couple more. So I'm going to throw up my screen really quick. Let's see, this should work. All right. So as I mentioned, I manage the local food program for Extension. So very broadly, our objective is to promote the production, marketing, and consumption of food produced here in North Carolina. And that's very broad. So everything from farm to fork we work on. So I wanted to highlight our website, which really highlights some resources about how we can use locally produced food to support community development goals. We walk through the whole supply chain and talk about different types of markets and different opportunities there. And then we also dabble with like nutrition education and some food system education on the consumer end of things. So I just wanted to highlight this resource just because there's a lot of good information on here. There's a lot of information on here very generally. So depending on what your needs are, what your interests are, I assume a lot of us come to farming driven by values. So farming is a tough business to be in. And we want to make sure that we can help your business align with your values and support our local communities. There's a couple more points I want to make on this website. One is the Center for Environmental Farming Systems. If you are an aspiring farmer or interested in hosting aspiring farmers, the Center for Environmental Farming System has farm apprenticeship programs. One is specifically for veterans, and one focuses on sustainable vegetable production, even though I believe that there are some livestock producers in that program. So I highly recommend checking out their website as well. And then for all farmers, regardless of what's being produced, I highly recommend going into your county extension office and getting to know your county staff. So on all of these all of our NC State Extension websites, up on this top right of the screen, there's this county setters button, and you can go there and find your county extension office. And I recommend going in person because a lot of our county extension offices are in the same building as county-based NRCS and FSA offices, and each type of office offers different resources and different types of technical assistance, and it's really worth the time to go in and just get to know the staff at each office and what they can do to help your farming business be successful. So that was one thing I wanted to highlight. Another one, I know I'm being very brief about this, and I'll be sure to drop these links in the chat once I'm not screen sharing, is as Derek mentioned with NC Farm School, that's very focused on business planning. And I even saw a couple of questions in the chat about how to balance that with learning about production for new farmers. So we piloted a small farm boot camp this past year, and we're getting ready to fully launch the program in early 2024. We piloted this as a foundational horticulture production curriculum. So we developed 8 modules and distributed them across the state for our county agents to teach this boot camp. And it's very just beginner level, foundational production focused curriculum. So there's a module on soils, everything you want to know about soils, including testing, how to get your soil tested, different types of soils, how to address different issues. And then also different types of crops, including vegetables, small fruits, tree fruits. And then we dabble with putting a plan together and putting it to action. We did the pilot as a horticulture program, and for the full launch, we are able to include some livestock modules. So it will be up to the county agents to kind of like pull these modules together into a coherent boot camp format. We're going to give some guidance and some different track options for them to teach. But we're making that curriculum available to all of our county offices to help supplement NC Farm School. And then to get to what I'm actually here to talk about today is this farm planning resources website. So again, you'll know this county center's top or button right up here. So this website got started a few years ago now. A group of us noticed that a bunch of us across Extension were getting really similar questions about how to get a farm started and some of the more logistical aspects of farm planning. And we realized we were all getting the same questions and having to recreate the same resources, and that they weren't housed in a spot within Extension. So there's a group of us, I think most of us are on the call today, have made a list of all of these questions that we've been hearing across Extension and got them all up on a website in one place. With the goal of serving agents. So as agents are getting these questions, hopefully they are aware of this website and know where to look. So they don't have to recreate the wheel. And then also for all of you on this call as a place to go and get some of that background reading. So we made a list of the questions and realized it was quite long, but we were able to group them into several different types of themes, a lot of which I actually have seen in the chat already on this call. So you can hopefully navigate these. We have a landing page for each topic. If my internet will be less slow, I'll show you what one of them looks like. But we've been working together as a team for a few years now, making the list of questions and then also figuring out how to best answer them so that the answers are applicable statewide. So this is our Getting Started farm or page. So if you're interested in starting a farm, trying to figure out like specific definitions or that really foundational, just getting started point, this is a page that we put together for that. And you'll see we have a list of different articles here with a brief description of each. I think this selecting an enterprise for your farm is one of our most visited pages at the moment. So we have some background information, and then we get Paul McKenzie did a really great job on the graphics for this. We broke down some production options for if you have 1 acre, 5 acres, 10 acres, or 20 acres. So you can click on those links to get more detail, and you can see a summary down here. So that's the type of information you see there. And then I think I saw some comments about like land and water in the chat. So you'll notice here we don't quite have all of our articles fully fleshed out. We're still working on producing some content. But for the articles we don't have put together quite yet, we did a little bit longer of a description as well as links to additional resources. And within each article, we tried to include quite a few links to point you in the right directions as you're doing your research to help you find other helpful resources. So the other topics are business development, taxes, liability and insurance, regulations, certifications, marketing. And then we have this great list of support organizations broken down by federal, state and local, national, non-government, and NC-based non-government organizations. So we really want anybody who's interested in farming to be able to find the resources that they need to get started. And we want to make sure that we're answering your questions. And this is our attempt at least trying to aggregate some of the information. We hope that this website is really helpful. If you don't mind, if you like, or if you really don't like our website, we do have this option feedback. We do have a generic email address that goes out to our whole team. which is about 6 of us across extension. And then we also have just some very generic, easy to fill out forms, just so we can know if we're on the right track or not. But I hope that this is helpful, and I'm happy to take any questions. That was very fast, I know.
Great job, Hannah. I think one of the comments we hear so much from beginning farmers is that it's just very confusing, knowing all the different agencies and programs. And I think what y'all are doing to aggregate stuff and put it all on one side is a good starting point for beginning farmers. Let's see, do we have any questions, Hannah? The other Hannah in the chat? Good to go.
We have one about waste management and greenways in farming, organic and sustainable methods. And I kind of want to hold it because I feel like you might touch on it a little bit, Debbie. Unless you want to answer it now, Hannah, and then Debbie can expound upon it in her talk too.
I'm wondering, is Andrew back? I feel like that the waste management might
I'm here.
dabble a little bit in what he does.
I'm here. Yeah, let's defer it to yeah, let's defer that to later.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and keep moving then, and we'll transition to Debbie, and she's going to tell us about some of her resources through the Growing Small Farms portal.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Great to be here. Thanks, Hannah, for your talk and all the previous speakers. It's a great group of people. I appreciate Hannah encouraging people to search out their county agents. I have one addition to that. So she showed y'all how to find your agent up here. So if you click on county centers, and then let's pick a county. Let's pick, for example, my county, Chatham County. That what you'll see on each, no matter what county you're in, look for the Meet Our Staff page. Because the only thing I would add to what Hannah said, instead of just showing up at the office, I would encourage you to call first, because agriculture agents are often not sitting at our desk. And if you just show up at the office and we don't know you're coming, there's a really good chance we're not going to be there and you're going to be disappointed. So it's always best to make an appointment with the agent you're trying to meet with. And if you look at the Meet Our Staff page, you'll notice that in every county, there's a different array of agents, because it depends on what agriculture in that county looks like. Some counties have a lot of livestock, some have a lot of row crops, some have a lot of organic farms. So help, look at that page to identify what agent you think you might want to work with, and then contact that agent. So, but I'm here. So I am Debbie Roos. I'm the Sustainable Agriculture Agent for Chatham County. And let me go back to my original page. So I'm here to talk today about my Growing Small Farms website. This is a website that I created about 21 years ago. Well, at least that was the initial web page that long ago. My primary audience is working with organic farmers. And I realized through feedback with this group of farmers, even 21 years ago, that they were real self-directed learners and liked to use the internet, which 21 years ago was a little bit unusual, actually. So I thought that creating a website would be a great way to reach them. And actually 21 years ago, I had to write HTML code by hand, which is kind of laughable in these days. But now we got all kinds of technology to help us. So I wanted just to kind of show you a few different sections of a website, and rather than posting the link, which can distract people, we're going to send y'all the links in a follow-up email. So this is the website. It's quite large. It's got over 500 pages. So if you got a rainy day or a cold day and you don't want to be outside, you can look around. So let's see. I just highlighted a few things I want to show you. The news is going to be articles that primarily that I've written, sometimes that other counties have written. And also when you subscribe to my email list, you know, you'll often get these, but these can be on an array of topics. So you can see those. If you click on the farmer resources section on the left, there's a lot of good stuff there. So for example, if you click on the grower resource list, this is where I've compiled suppliers, sometimes books, but mostly suppliers for seeds and plants and things like that. You can select an enterprise, you know, like vegetables and herbs. And again, it'll tell you about some of the favorite books and publications on that topic. And it'll also list suppliers for seeds, you know, that growers are using, and links to those websites. Or you can pick a topic over here. So that's an example of how to use the grower resource list. I have also some small farm listservs. So those are email discussion groups, and they're described there if you click there. And if you want to subscribe to those, you can email me. Organic certification guide. So each one of these links, it opens up to multiple sub pages. A lot of people like the farm planning and record keeping spreadsheets that you can download and help you with record keeping. So again, when you have time, take a look at those. I've linked to a lot of the great portals that have been shared with you today, from Farm School, Local Food, Farm Planning, Andrew Brandon's FarmLaw for producers and landowners, and also, you know, even download your soil report, things like that. So those are some great farmer resources. Those who know me know that I'm passionate about pollinator conservation. So one of my favorite passion projects is my pollinator paradise demonstration garden. So lots of resources there, from plant lists and videos and what's in bloom. So take your time to look around there if that interests you. There's a lot of resources under crop production. So if people are interested, most people farming vegetables or other crops are really interested in cover crops to build the soil. So I've done some profiles, some grower profiles here that you can take a look at. They're essentially case studies of some of our very experienced farmers, and what they plant and when they do it and that kind of thing. Information on winter cover crops, summer cover crops, and just some good details there. Another really popular one is the planting and harvest guide that I worked with a local farmer to develop. So if you click here, you can see it gives you dates for when things are seeded or planted. Whether you're using season extension or not. It might take you a minute to figure out how I formatted that, but that's been a real popular thing that people like to download on the website. Okay, let's go back. I promise I'm not trying to show you everything. I'm just showing you kind of the more popular things. Again, you know, more profiles. So this is content that I've created specific to our region. You know, Peregrine Farms, planting dates, soil management profiles, some local crop problems and things like that, hurricane preparedness for horticultural crops. Let's see. The pest management section, I am hoping to update that next year. Basically, probably the most useful thing now would be the photos of pest and beneficial insects. So I want to it kind of got some formatting issues lost when the website was moved, but at least it can help you in identifying some of our pests and beneficials, and there'll be links to fact sheets. Some of those links are not working. That's the part I'm going to update. I apologize for that. But again, some of our more common, you know, pests and beneficials, which is one of my favorite topics in the world, you know, to teach people and also learn myself. Let's see, crop product. Okay, pest management. Direct marketing is going to be, of course, all the information on our local farmers markets. I've got information on how to do community supported agriculture, marketing to restaurants and retailers, and you know, just more details on that. The web resources section, basically here I've curated my favorite publications on all of these topics here. So, you know, if you're interested in cut flower production, these are the publications that I have found most useful. They're from other universities. I pretty much stick to research-based information from you know, and other universities that, you know, that we can trust. So these are very helpful. I use them myself because I know they're all going to be there. So lots of different topics here. Look through that list and see if anything interests you. If you have any additions for that, let me know. Yeah, so there's just, you know, a lot of good information on there. I've only showed you a little bit of it, but you know, look through the, like I said, there's a lot of great articles on the well, I guess I shouldn't call my own articles great. Excuse me for that. That remains to be seen. Y'all will have to let me know. But you know, those have been popular, and again, shared through email and social media as well. I have no idea how long I just talked for, but that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm happy to entertain any questions.
No, you did a great job. I just want to put in a plug-in for your listservs. I think in North Carolina and you're trying to plug into the farming community, a great way to start is, which listserv is the one that the farmers kind of ask questions back and forth? I know you have multiple ones.
Yeah, that's the Growing Small Farms listserv. It's been around. I think it was the first listserv in the state for farmers. I started it because when I would get a question from a farmer and I would take the time to compose an answer, I thought, well, I bet other people could benefit from this answer. But not only that, other people could contribute to the answer, right? I don't have all the answers. And it's been really wonderful, the sharing that goes on there. So it's got about 900 people on it. Not 100% farmers, but many of them, most of them are farmers. I do not allow people to use it, you know, to market their products, of course. But I do allow farmer to farmer selling, like if Stephen has a tractor that he wants to sell. If you have something that you want to sell to another farmer to help them farm, I allow that. But Stephen just can't sell his pastured eggs. You know what I mean? You can't use it as your personal customer base. But it's been real popular. A lot of people help each other out on that list. So if y'all are, maybe Stephen, when we send that follow-up email, in addition to the links to the web portals and resources, we should also send out our email addresses. So if you want to subscribe to that, you would just email me.
Okay. Are there any questions, Hannah, for Debbie? Okay.
Yes. So Debbie, I had a question for you. So first and foremost, thank you for speaking during this webinar. And secondly, what got you interested into farming? How did this become your passion? So, and then with your knowledge and with the knowledge acquired from farming, agricultural science and horticultural science, how are you using that knowledge? How are you planning to use that knowledge to help others? And what are the next goals for what you are doing? What are the next few, like, many more goals, if not just in the near future, but in the far future?
Okay, well, that's a lot of questions. That's good questions. So what got me interested in farming? I did not grow up on a farm, but I always wanted to. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Africa for 3 years, and that's what got me interested in working with farmers, because that's what I did there. I did agroforestry, so I came back to grad school and studied agriculture, horticulture. So as far as oh gosh, now I'm forgetting. You said in the future. So in May, I will have been working for Extension for 25 years, helping farmers. So I'm not ready to retire, but the reason I have stayed in this job so long is because I'm constantly learning. And that's what I love about it. That's what makes me passionate about it. So I love working directly with farmers. They teach me, I teach them. And so there's always new things to learn in farming, and that's what keeps me going. And the farmers are inspirational to me. Yep.
All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and transition here to our last presenter, and we've got Andrew Brandon. We're going to circle back around to you and let you talk about the NC Farm Law site.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to keep my video off too. I lost my Wi-Fi a little back there. So yeah, anyway, very briefly, this is the web portal that I manage, and my position with NC Cooperative Extension is somewhat styled as legal specialist. I deal with a lot of land use topics and other legal financial topics and tax topics related to farm production, land ownership, land disposition, things like that. And so all the work that I do as part of that effort is going to be housed here. And a lot of what I put on this particular site, you see I'm linked to FarmLink and Farm School and all that, but I put up my own little articles from time to time on news topics. How the site is organized. Here's generally where my I will say our farm succession treatment goes. And my focus is to not try to help people do these things themselves. A lot of it is to help you as landowners and farmers understand what the issues are that you might be dealing with, maybe with the county or something like that. But when it gets down to drawing up agreements and things like that, these documents are there to help you understand what the issues are and really better work with your legal and tax advisor. So you'll just, if I click the estate planning one, you'll see here, I've just got a bunch of articles on wills and trusts and things like that. Whenever I go out into the counties and do presentations, I'll just house my presentation here. So here's one from last year. I've probably updated that. And so that also gives you a general idea of the type of materials that I'm out there presenting. One thing, because I'll forget, I want to make you all aware, these are some handbooks that I put together over the years. This is my most recent one. And you'll see in here, a lot of it contains narratives on issues of how you own your property, how do you transfer it, what type of agreements can you come to with your co-owners for management, lease considerations, things like that. And then just generally various issues on just related to land ownership and things that landowners come across, whether you're a farmer or whether you're renting your land out to a farmer. Other topics that I do generally cover, a lot of land use, and that's going to a lot of articles on, some articles on liability, on fencing, property taxes, bona fide farm zoning, things like that. What happens when your neighbors complain about your farming practices? What are your rights there, and the limitations and things like that. And so you can see that somebody earlier had asked about greenways. I was assuming that meant conservation easements. Fair bit of materials on all those types of programs. Again, zoning. If I go back to the tab on agribusiness, this is where we'll get more into setting up your organization. If you're going to form a limited liability company or something like that, I've got various pieces on drafting LLC operating agreements, how to set up your LLC step by step, just very simple how to. And then again, these are various presentations that I give out in the counties. Taxes, some very basics on farm labor law, which for small farms are largely exempt from a lot of federal labor law, but not from things like paying payroll or withholding taxes and treating your employees, classifying them properly as W-2 employees, things like that. And so I've got a couple of other tabs on here which do, those do languish a bit, though I am in my job doing quite a bit of work in utility scale solar development and trying to learn more in the realm of community-based solar and on-farm solar, applying for REAP grants and things like that. So if you're interested in, where we are in North Carolina, you're curious about our policy on solar energy development, I've, written a bunch on that. I've put some other resources that are around that sort of predate my time at NC State. And I think with that, that's the general overview of the site. If you're looking for any sort of topic, you can just, property taxes, boom. And then there'll be various articles will pop up. And generally folks find these articles just by Googling them without even coming to the site. And our SEO is very good at the university. And so it's pretty easy to find things you're looking for. And I'll stop there. I really appreciate y'all letting me tag on to this, and sorry about the tech snafu earlier.
Oh, no worries. Thank you, Andrew, for all you do. And we're really lucky to have you with NC State to help with a lot of these legal questions. We do have one question from Nancy Carter. She's a Soil and Water Board member in Mecklenburg County. She wants to know if we have any resources or anything you can point her to on heirs property issues. So for folks who don't know what heirs property is, it's basically where there's a unclear title on the land and where you got a lot of co-owners. So could you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if I can go back to just to make everybody aware, this is a very new project that's just launching. It's a partnership between NC State and A&T University over in Greensboro. And so our Department of Forestry and NC FarmLink and NC A&T are partnering up to do a series on heirs property over the coming year. And so you'll find this information in various places if you just Google it. But you can see here we have a schedule made up of various locations that will talk about this in the county. This heirs property is an area that we're taking a particular focus on in various capacities. I'm trying to put together my own materials on heir property resolution. How do you untangle title and things like that? But appreciate that question, and I would encourage you to attend one of these workshops. And one thing I didn't mention, sorry to add more time to myself, but please feel free to reach out to me by email with specific questions. If you speak to your extension agent in the county, they will usually email me with the question. And so we can connect that way. And so any specific questions you have about various topics, that's part of what I do is respond and try to steer folks in the right direction.
Thank you, Andrew. And then we have one other question. If you want to go ahead and unmute.
Yeah. Is that me?
Yeah.
So Andrew Brennan, sir, thank you very much for your for your presentation. I do appreciate it, but I had another question for you. So how did you find and fall? So how did you find not just agriculture, horticulture, and farming to be your passion, but like particularly like what you do in particular to be your passion? Why did you choose that area of like farm law and farm succession and agribusiness as your pathway or your trajectory on what you want to do? And how are you planning to use that knowledge of what you do to help others? And are you planning to use this knowledge to go further? Like, are you planning to go into another field using what you do so far, or like how you help others? Are like any new projects coming up, or like any new material you all are learning for your job in addition to what you are doing? So like what all projects have you done, and how are you going to use those projects as a platform to inspire others?
Sure. I appreciate the question. I mean, really very fast. I got interested in agriculture, primarily my interest in land use and conservation. And it was an area of law practice that not so many people were we're occupying that space. And so for me, when I was coming really back into law several years after law school, it looked like an area to go to work in, and I wanted to be deliberate about it and work around land conservation and things like that. And agriculture is really the low-lying fruit because that's the primary land use when we get to our rural areas. And so, and your other question about, what am I going to do with all that? That's what I'm doing. I think there's going to be plenty of work to do for the balance of my career. So it's a rewarding area. I do feel particularly useful to folks. And so I would say, yeah, it's fulfilling.
Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. And I think I had another question for you. So is there like any scientific so is there any science that is involved, because like any mathematics or like science that you do, because what I've studied so far is usually different applications of applied mathematics and applied science from my perspective.
In a word, no, I'm not the math guy. Lawyers generally interpret words for people, and that's a lot of what I do.
Interpret. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. I think that is going to wrap us up here, unless we have any other questions. But I want to thank y'all, to everybody who attended. One final housekeeping thing, we have to do evaluations for everything at NC State. So I have a quick poll. If you could please answer this, it helps us with grants. So I'm going to launch it right now. If you could answer these questions for the poll, that would help us out a lot. But thanks everybody for attending, and we will send out a follow-up email with our links to all these resources and to the recording. And then I think, Hannah, you said to be on the lookout for
we're gonna host Hannah Dinkbar and some other folks who have worked on the Small Farm Bootcamp program, looking at 2024, TBD on the exact date. We haven't planned it out yet, but just for everyone to be on the look for that. We'll have that, and then we'll also have additional webinars, and through FarmLink, we'll have it on our website as well as through our newsletter. For folks who want to be on our newsletter who aren't, if you'll just email us with the follow-up email saying that you'd like to be added, we can do that. But we send out an evaluation at the end of the year asking for webinar suggestions, and that helps us plan for the next calendar year around what folks want to know more about and what resources you'd like to share. So we'll be able to incorporate your feedback from there. And then I see Owen has his hand raised, so.
Yeah, hi, it's about the evaluation. So I'm with Montgomery County Extension, and I understand the importance, but there's a question. Number 4, are you part of the following underserved farming groups? And I'm none of the above, but I can't submit without selecting something. So maybe we should establish one as, the null answer before everybody goes after it.
Yeah, that's a mistake on my part. I'm sorry. Yeah, the null answer, we'll probably just have to scrap that question anyway. So just go ahead and submit it. And yeah, that's on me. But thanks for letting me know. I wouldn't have figured that out.
Yeah. The other 4 are good.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Stephen, for putting this together. Thank you, Hannah, for supporting this effort. Appreciate both of you guys. And a word to everybody. I mean, you've got Andrew here, you've got Hannah, you've got Deb. These folks are rock stars. So please, you guys definitely go take advantage of the resources they have to offer. And I can't think of a question that you'd have in farming that you probably couldn't find the answer to on Debbie's website. So if you have any kind of question from what an insect is or how do I plant something, the small farm planning, the Small Farms website is a great place, great wealth of resources there. So thank you. So thank you guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you, Derek,
Thanks, Derek.
and everyone for speaking.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to give it one more minute to finish up the poll, and then I'm going to end it for everybody, and y'all can have a good rest of the day.